and welcome to Life After Lupus. I'm starting a couple hours early this evening because of scheduling issues for me. So I hope that you catch this on the replay as I share a couple more chapters, very short chapters in my book called Life After Lupus, What's Your Autoimmune Name? My name is Andrea Lendy, and I've struggled with lupus, but I am well today and very thankful for the healing that I was able to experience. It wasn't quick. It took a while and a lot of seeking and searching and working through the process, but I was able to heal, and I'm so very grateful that I was, so I can come and share that journey with you all, give you hope, a little possibility, open up the possibility of healing. Our bodies were meant to heal. They want to heal if we do the right things, give them the right things to do in order for all of that to happen, for the cells to want to regenerate in a healthy way and all of those kinds of things. So a lot of that is due to chemicals and toxins around us. It's what we're eating. It's what we're breathing in all around us, those kinds of things. But if we can clean up that type of thing and then supplement with some great nutrition, our bodies will heal, and it's a beautiful thing. It truly is. So in the chapters today, we're almost getting into the clear here, which is another beautiful thing. And I was able to have a family, which was absolutely wonderful. So it took 3 years to heal, and then another year or so to start thinking about having children once I was well. I was getting old at that point. I was 35 before we had our first child, and we've been married for about 15 years. So it had been a long time going in terms of, and we hadn't thought about kids because we were so busy in our lives before then. We were like, if you know my story, I was flying for about 5 years, and then it took 3 years to get well. So just hadn't been in the scope of what we were thinking about. But at some point here, once I started feeling better and knowing that healing was definitely in my path, I was going to heal, we started thinking about kids. And lo and behold, I went to the doctor for what I thought was an ear infection and found out I was pregnant. That wasn't the symptom, but thought I would check in with the doc while I was there. So that's what this chapter is about. The last chapter, I was kind of a long chapter about some surgeries that I had had. And thankfully, those are the only surgeries I've ever had to have since then. But about a year after the last surgery was when I noticed that I may possibly be pregnant. So I had gone into the doctor because I thought I had an ear infection. We discovered I just had too much wax in my ear, and I'd never been, I think people who do produce a lot of wax know it even when they're kids, because they just have to have those ears irrigated often. And that had never happened to me in 35 years, literally never. Just, I wasn't a wax producer, but I was having trouble hearing out of one of my ears, and it was because there was too much wax there. So the medical assistant pumped, what seemed like a gallon of water in my ear canal to clear that. And while we were in the office, I asked if they could do a pregnancy test. We were informed the test was positive. I remember the doctor came in and he said, well, it's a weak positive, but it's positive. The cramping I had experienced earlier was due to the embryo attaching to the uterus and not a normal menstrual cramp. God had ordained this little boy to be conceived in the last month that the doctor told us we could conceive. See, it had been a year since my surgery, and she said that we'd be most likely to have kids in the first 6 months, and after a year, she'd have to repeat the surgery. So in the 12th month, I was pretty disappointed that I may have to have that surgery again, but I didn't. And isn't that the way God is? Oftentimes in the last hour, but you know, his timing is impeccable. It truly is. I don't think even those 6 months, I'm not sure that we would have been ready. But now when we were thinking, okay, we may have to go in for more surgery, we get this great news that I'm actually pregnant. We were ecstatic. And again, I was also thrilled that I wouldn't have to have the surgery again. So that was lovely. During each pregnancy, my health got better and better, and that was not expected. Honestly, when women go through these huge hormonal shifts, that's usually when they discover they have lupus. For me, it actually reversed my condition even more. I was asymptomatic, But, and this will probably tell all this, right? I was asymptomatic with you know, I didn't feel like I had lupus at all. I felt 100% normal, but my blood tests still showed that that the anti-nuclear antibodies were high until my last child, when they were completely normal. So although I was asymptomatic at the time, yep, at the time of our first son's birth, my blood test still indicated that the blood levels were at 1 to 640. And again, lupus is a thing where you produce way too many antibodies. So normally in one part of blood, there's about 40 to 80 antibodies. But in my blood, in one part of my blood, there was 640. So they no longer can tell who's the foreign invader, and those antibodies go and attack the body. And that's really what lupus is. It's this, when the immune system turns on itself. And so it can attack organs, it can attack joints, cause all kinds of inflammation and that kind of thing. 2.5 years later, we had our second son. And during that pregnancy, the ANA numbers were cut in half. So they were 1 to 320. Again, asymptomatic. I could be out in the sun. I could eat whatever I wanted. I think I was still on a vegetarian diet, but I was adding in things I hadn't had before. Like I was really, really allergic to wheat. And all of a sudden I could start eating bread. This was after my first son was born. And I could start eating dairy. So I was having some of those things flavored in with the vegetables and things like that. So 5 months after the second one was born, I found out I was pregnant with our third and last son. So that was exciting. I remember it was around Halloween when I found out I was pregnant again. And we had just had our second son in June 25th. But by Halloween, I remember taking our first and the baby to a little pumpkin patch. And I remember my jeans fitting tight, and I'm like, what's going on? Because, okay, so our second son was born June 25th. I worked really hard, and I'd lost all the baby weight and gotten really tiny, and all of a sudden my pants were getting tight again. And I couldn't imagine why, because I was still on the downhill cycle of losing weight. So I remember being uncomfortable. And when I went in, I found out I was pregnant. During this pregnancy, my ANA numbers were completely normal. And then, since lupus is such a hormonal disease, a lot of young women are diagnosed with lupus when they get pregnant. My pregnancies, however, continued to correct this disease entirely. When I look back at my symptoms and when they started, I recall that the various allergies I had developed to medicine and food started happening just after I'd started taking the birth control pill. This hormone had started a spiral of health issues that I had no idea would become a struggle for me later in life. Thankfully, with a lot of care from great doctors, a lot of money spent on natural healing, supplements, and organic foods, my body healed completely. But this is a big thing. I know that people don't think a second thing about hormonal, like taking the birth control pill or wearing a patch, which all changes hormones and things like that. But it does. And I wish I would have known that decision to take that birth control pill I wish I would have known what that would have caused in my life. Any hormonal disruption, if a person does have autoimmune tendencies, I think can put someone right into that disease. And eventually that's exactly what happened to me. But I was so fortunate that all the things that I had experienced before, one, I had worked really hard at healing, but secondly, even my blood tests completely reversed. I remember seeing the doctor that I worked with for my third child, who was different than my first two. And I had told her, well, I had been diagnosed with lupus, asymptomatic, whatever. And so she started doing blood work when I first went in to see her. And the next time I saw her, she said, Andrea, your blood tests are normal. You do not have lupus. And I was flabbergasted. I mean, my family, all those that were close to me said, I think you just got to stay pregnant for the rest of your life. Well, we know the end of that story. I did not. My third one was our last one. But we were very fortunate to have those three little guys all so close together. I mean, when we had our third one, our first was 3, our second one was 1 year old, and then we had this newborn. So it was a busy household way back then. We were absolutely 100% blessed to have these little guys running around and being able to grow them up. Still, some of our greatest blessings are those kiddos who are now all in college and all doing very well, and we're really proud of them. So, although this story started out a little on the downside, it is now shifting to a beautiful part of my life, which I love to share as well. Um, there is healing. There is life after chronic illness. There has been life for me after that diagnosis of lupus. And while I would have to deal with it again, but just for a really short time this next time, I have lived a full life and I have lived a healthy life, except for a few intervals in them. So, want to end leaving hope and possibility of healing. Our bodies want to heal if we just do the right things for them to heal. Another person to watch and follow on Facebook, check out his website, is Matt Embry, Embry. He was diagnosed with MS and is 100% healthy today. So love following him and his story. He's very, very inspirational and motivational, if you will. His biggest thing is, or his, I don't know if it's a claim to fame, is no cheat days, which I think is phenomenal. He just continues to inspire people, and he's got a documentary on Amazon Prime called Living Proof, where he kind of goes through and checks in with other people who have been diagnosed with MS and what they are doing and have done, as well as some experts in the field. I would definitely follow Matt Embry. He gives a free cookbook, and while I have what I eat in my book, at the end of the book, it's not a full cookbook, and I think his is so full and complete. I'd love to refer you to his website, mshope.com, because his cookbook is free, and it is what his wife and mom have made him over the years and what he's found to be lovely. I think his daughter, he had shared on one of the social media channels that she'd made a cake on his birthday completely out of fruit, and it looked scrumptious. So please follow him for more tips and tricks about how to stay healthy. And of course, continue to follow me as I share insights and breakthroughs and all of those kinds of things on a daily basis. Blessings to you for your evening and your week. And during the week, I do short little videos, just inspirational moments for your day. So thanks for being here. Thanks for joining. Thanks for following my page and being interested in this journey. My prayer is that it inspires you as well. Blessings for your week. Thanks.